are largely irrelevant because there are no extra drops on the loot table for looting these NPCs. So it's actually, again, more efficient. Is this guy... This guy... Okay, this guy's killing one. It's actually more efficient to do the trees and not the wolves. But the thing is, the wolves are just better for experience because they always give you 884 regardless of their level. So now I just wait for this one to respawn. It's gonna respawn in just a minute. And then as soon as it respawns, I just kill it. Immediately fucking dead. Just like that fucking tree. There it is. So I need to do this about 300 times. See this guy, I'm gonna steal his mob. That way he'll leave. Ah, shit. I'm gonna wait for him to stop moving. He's gonna go for this one now. I'm just gonna go over there and steal that one too. It's not a big deal. He's gonna get it low for me, which is nice. So now it won't matter because I can just go ahead and just get in here. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. So, fuck him. This guy's gonna get that one. He got it. He wanted to be reckless, and he wanted to be an alpha male, and that's what you get. He's trying to pull the mob on top of me. Tried doing it the way I did, the way back to him, yeah. Well, I didn't ask him to be in my spot. This is my spot. See, he's going to that one. He doesn't even know. Oh, that's the same guy. And now this one's gonna respawn, watch, right as I get over there. So usually, usually people just leave after that happens to them a couple of times. Which makes sense. It's really fucking annoying to have somebody do that to you. And now we're gonna pull both of these at the same time again. That way we don't have to worry about getting fucked around. Now if this guy, so he's gonna do that, so we're not gonna be able to do it. This guy's all 58 too, unfortunately, so he's gonna be able to mine him really fast. And that's why, it is what it is. It's the way of the road, man. People are gonna steal your mobs. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Just gonna have to cut this one myself. He just needs 3 for his quest. We'll let him get his quest. There's a quest over in the town for him to get it. I'll just get him out of here as fast as we can. So I have to do this. I did the math on it earlier. I'll show you the calculations. So at 2:56 p.m. I was 116, and after farming for 1 hour I was 1 hour I was 133. So mathematically I have to spend about 2 hours doing this. Just throw that shit on the ground. I don't give a fuck about it. Will you though? Yeah, I mean I already spent an entire hour. Oh, he's done. Yeah, I thought that was 3. What do you get for 200 logging? Nothing. Oh no, you can track ironwood trees, which doesn't matter because you already know where they all are. I already know the optimum farming locations for them. It's not a big deal. I'll be farming ironwood tomorrow. I could do it tonight if I really wanted to, but I was doing I was doing the quests and everything. You get an achievement? I only care about achievements in WoW. What are you doing after maxing this game? I quit. Go back to Final Fantasy. Max and grind, then quit. Yep. The fun of the game is the optimization. So as soon as the optimization is gone, the game doesn't really have the value anymore. Like that's what it's all about, is, you know, being able to figure out like what the best option for like X or Y thing is. No reason not to quit right now. Well, the reason why I'm not quitting right now is because the game's still fun. Like I'm still enjoying the game. Like if I wasn't enjoying the game, I would quit. Like I think the game is fucking garbage in so many ways, but the ways that it's good are good enough for me to forgive the ways that it's bad. Okay, so sometimes this happens. Speaking of bad gameplay. Don't ever see I'm talking about the good side? Well, I think this is cool. Like isn't the fact that I'm doing this kind of the good side in itself? I would argue that it is. Do you consider grinding in a game to be fun? Fun is not really the word I would use. I think that really, like, everybody gets something different out of grinding. Like, some people do it to relax. For me, like, I do it because it's just a, it's like a form of, like, meditation almost. Where, like, I'm just playing this game, I'm grinding in the game. I'm, like, not thinking about anything else. This is really stupid. Maybe I'm just gonna kill them individually because it feels like killing them on like this this angle is like it's just garbage. Yeah, I got one of them. Yeah, I'll just kill them individually from now on. This is also like, so whenever you're talking about actually farming this and making it like more efficient, to me the way I look at it is like, this is actually not super efficient. It's unironically almost better to just cut down mature trees. And the reason why I say that is because mature trees, so if a mature tree that's like an average size is giving you 250 reputation, or sorry, experience, then you would need to have obviously 3.5 mature trees in the time that you would need to complete and kill one of these things on average, right? So what you do is if you're in a forest and you're cutting down trees, especially if you have the one tap thing, you can one tap 3 trees very fast, because really you're not just looking at the time that it takes you to cut down the tree versus the time it takes you to cut down one of these corpses. You're also thinking about the time that it takes to travel from dog to dog, and then also the combat, because the combat takes about 4 seconds, let's say. So if you take 4 seconds, it doesn't seem like a lot, but you take 4 seconds and then you multiply it by 100, well, that's like 20 minutes or something like that, or 10 minutes. So that's whenever you really get into like maximizing efficiency, because it's not just with farming trees versus killing terror wolves. It's not just about the amount of reputation you get, it's about the time that it takes. You see what I'm saying? 6.5 minutes exactly, and that's per 100 kills. So if you're killing more than that, which you obviously are, because you're killing one about like every 30 seconds, it's gonna be wildly inefficient if the kills are taking longer. Which is the reason why I wasn't killing the mobs over in Eden Grove, is because they were level 50. And even though there were other trees there and everything, those trees were not all the 1,000 trees, and they weren't even all the 800 trees. Some of them were 300s and 500s, which is inefficient. And also you have those NPCs that make it take longer. And then on top of these NPCs that make it take longer, then you also have the problem of the... can I get around him? Yeah, I can. Of the dogs that take longer. So you have longer combat. And if you're looking at a grinding location and what you want to farm, you want to look at, like, basically a lot of people, a mistake that people make is grinding is that they don't look at, like, all the time that it takes inside of a process. They only look at the part of the process that they want to do. So if you're looking and you're trying to, like, analyze a process and figure out the most optimized way of doing it, you have to look at every single action that occurs inside of a process loop. And inside of this process loop, what you're looking at, right, is you're looking at the travel time, you're looking at combat time, you're looking at readjustment time to each different dog, you have the time of accidentally aggroing other mobs, etc. And if you put all of these things together, you have a much larger amount of time that you spend in between killing each mob. Now, it's very hard to really know exactly, like, what's the most efficient, because and that's why I did tests to see for myself, because you can't really know this kind of stuff unless you do, like, a 1-hour time trial, which is what I did. And so I had to evaluate. Now, the only problem there is that the amount of experience that you get per level is different, because the levels get higher and the experience required gets higher. It makes it more complicated. And another positive and negative is with these, every single one that you kill gives you a life quintessence. But the problem also is that a lot of other people a lot of other people are farming these things because it's popular now to farm these Terra Wolves, because people have seen how good they are for Weirdwood. And that's why Weirdwood doesn't have any value anymore. It's because people are able to do that. So also, like, another factor is the like, I'm not even selling the wood, as I said before. Like, the wood, so, like, I thought about it, and, like, what is the most efficient way for me to make money? If I'm doing this for money, which I'm not, I'm just kind of doing it because I feel like it, the most efficient thing would be to go and get ironwood as fast as possible. Because realistically, most people are not going to put themselves through the torture of doing the Weirdwood to ironwood grind from, like, 100 to 175. Because this is mind-numbing, it's boring, it's fucking annoying, and nobody wants to do it. So, really, if you look at the amount of time that it would take to, like, let's say, list all of the wood, take it to town, because if you go to town, let's say, even if you go to here or you teleport over, that's like a minimum of, I'd say 15 minutes, realistically, right? Listing everything, getting back to the location exactly, and everything like that. So it's 15 minutes you're going to be spending every time, and you're going to cap out on inventory about, like, once every 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so. So what I do is I just throw it away, because realistically, the value of ironwood is going down every second. And the way that it goes down every second is the fact that there will be people that are farming it, and the people that are farming it will increase, and it will never decrease. And also, the people that are farming it will continue to farm it if it gives them more value. You see what I'm saying? Because everyone's doing it's popular now. Yeah, yeah. Well, you have to be able to think the way other people think and figure out like what the most efficient thing is. Why not have someone sell it for you? Because the very act of organizing that and doing that would take time. It's the idea of economics, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. Even things that are free take time, because instead of taking money, they take time. So whenever you invest into anything, whenever you do anything, there's a certain amount of time investment that requires from you. So like if I have to organize that with another person, I have to find a person that will do that. I have to then talk to that person and organize things with that person, and also assume that they're not going to scam me or something like that. You know what I mean? So like now I have like, this is another loose end in my life. Yeah, it's opportunity cost. Everything that exists gives you opportunity cost. So I made a Twitch add-on, put a streamer's ranking next to their names and follow list. Yeah, people love ranking each other. Like, look at MySpace top 8, just all that stuff. It's like super unhealthy for like people's mental state, but nobody really cares about that. You know, a streamer, like, you have like a wreckful situation or whatever, and people pretend like they care, and then they'll spend about a week acting like they care, and then go back to doing exactly what they were doing before. Opportunity cost isn't actually real. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, like, if I eat a hot dog, I can't eat a hamburger. I mean, I guess I can eat both if I'm fucking being a fat ass, but that's not gonna happen. Yeah, like if I didn't stream on Twitch, I'd probably be trying to invent like scam cryptocurrencies and stuff. I feel like I really lost an opportunity there. A doctor? Yeah, I don't think so. You can still do it. Yeah. It's just that, it's weird to scam people whenever you're like a popular content creator, because people have a reason to trust you. It's like there used to be like in my opinion, it's like the best kind of scam is whenever you let somebody lie to themselves. Like you let them play themselves, basically. Religion, I mean, it's like anything, right? I mean, those were all the best scams. Dream World, yeah. Yeah, I remember that fucking game. The cost of gaining bank interest, banks, misuse profit, very narrow approach, much broader. An example, yes, eating hamburger, $3, hot dog. No, it's not really that hard, right? It's like if you're gonna do something in one day, right? It's like you can either go out to the beach or watch a movie, right? Like you effectively can't do both inside of one day. Like assuming that that's not possible. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, I just like, that's the thing is like, I don't really scam people anymore. My health isn't going up. Look. It's not working. I'm in combat, it doesn't matter. Does combat affect it? No, it doesn't. Dog shit ass game. There we go. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. How do I do the tree chopping glitch? You have to have 300 constitution, and after you have 300 constitution, what you do is you... I wonder how long my thing hasn't been working. Like, I'm just thinking, like, maybe it wasn't working in the dungeon either. It's like it could have been for hours it hasn't been working. I don't think it was. I remember watching your health and I asked if your earring was broken. Yeah, I mean, what a piece of shit game. A fucking garbage game. And this guy's probably gonna try to loot it himself, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I just get right in there, and don't mind if I do. I mean, they can loot any of the other ones, they're just not gonna loot that one. This is my spot. He's gonna try to steal this one from me. He might get this. They'll eventually get one from me. Very cool. Very cool. You love this game. Wow. You piece of shit. Bro, this shit is slowed down so much. This is fucking brutal. This game, I'm rooting for this game really hard. It's exciting to do an MMO, see an MMO do well. I mean, I want the game to do well too. That's why I'm hard on it. Like, if I didn't care about the game, I wouldn't really give any feedback. I would just stop playing it, you know what I mean? There's plenty of games that I just stop playing, I don't give a fuck about them, and that's it. Like, I'm giving feedback and I'm talking about how I feel about it because I do care. Shit game. So maybe it has potential. I think the PvE has potential. As I said before, I don't really think the PvP has like much of a future. I think that just by the way it's designed, it's designed to it's designed to like escalate, I think, in terms of like extremes. Bunch of phishing bots on my server. Yeah. Crown said 3 was data mine to be coming. Could be okay. Yeah, I think that'd be a really cool idea. They need to have something to where like there's some degree of like of parity between people. Not a PvP in New World, it should be forced PvP areas. Finding someone running with PvP on is hard. Well, yeah, I mean, most people just don't want to play a game like that. I think there's a lot of like PvP Andes that think that the only way to play the game is PvP or whatever, and like they want to force other people into PvP. But I can guarantee you, like, that's not what they want to do. Like, if your solution to people not wanting to play your game is to force people into playing your game, maybe the problem is the game. You know, real PvP, they play a real PvP game. Yeah, it's like if I want real PvP, I'd play like Counter-Strike, you play Call of Duty or something like that. Play League of Legends. A game that's actually like balanced around PvP. A fighting game or whatever, Street Fighter. Yeah, Fortnite. Unironically Fortnite, yeah, exactly. Balance? I mean, yeah, I would assume that League of Legends is probably balanced better than New World. What's the most difficult thing in New World PvE? It depends, because you're talking about like, obviously like soloing a dungeon would be really hard, but like, is that really something that's like, that's not really content, that's like just something players are doing. So besides that, like, what really is the most difficult content? I would say probably the max level dungeons, like Genesis, Fucking, what's that other one? Lazarus. Solo elites. I mean, I soloed a world boss in the beta. It took like 15 minutes though. Are they actually poorly difficult? Are they actually difficult? Poorly designed? They're poorly designed. A lot of the content in the game is difficult because it's badly designed. Like, for example, the first boss in, I don't remember which one it is. It's like this, it's like a, it looks kind of, it has a model. It's like a mix between like Medusa and Aldrith, Saint of the Deeps from Dark Souls 3. It has like that kind of a body where it, like it's like a centaur like ish snake thing. So we did this boss and it's just like it's crazy to me that it's a slug. Yeah, chimera. Well, anything can be a chimera. Chimera is just a merging of two different animals. But either way, like what I'm saying is the boss. So like she didn't really have anything that she did per se, but she had like a couple of abilities that were like really annoying to deal with. And I think also like another part of difficulty in New World is threat. And I always thought that like dealing threat and having threat on a boss is like one of the worst mechanics that like an MMO can have. I just think it's an annoying mechanic. Like I'd rather have a game where you're focused around actually like performing mechanics rather than just like dealing threat. So I feel like threat, whenever games have threat, what really ends up happening is it's invisible to good groups and it's frustrating to bad groups. Imagine there's been a threat, there'd be no skill involved at all. Well, I think that would be true if there weren't examples of games that have tremendous, like, so let me ask you something. Excuse me. Do you think that there's more skill involved in clearing a Final Fantasy Savage raid, or a World of Warcraft Mythic WoW raid, or killing a boss in New World? A 5-man boss in New World. Which one do you think is more skillful? Yeah, Savage, Mythic for sure. Yeah, it's obvious, right? Well, how can that be the case if threat is not a factor in either of those games? Well, it's because there's other verticals that tanks are judged on and that tanks need to succeed with. So the idea that threat is some sort of necessary mechanic for tanking is just completely, it's just completely wrong. And there's multiple games that have that now, or that don't have that now, and they work just fine. Okay. Thread actually makes it easier. I think that threat in a way does make it easier because it's designed with that being a difficult factor. And I think that usually the most difficult factor with threat is like having your group cooperate and do what they're supposed to. There it is. Piece of shit game. Oh my god. What would be the best solution for that in your opinion? Focus is always on you for your tank regardless of damage. I think you just do what WoW did. Is, or what Final Fantasy did. A DPS can pull threat off of a tank in Final Fantasy. But like the skill disparity for that has to be like massive. Like just like astronomically huge. And the DPS probably has to do something wrong too. Like attack whenever they're not supposed to, or attack the wrong mob, etc. Or have stance, yeah, or something like that, right? Of course. Stormblood DPS to pull aggro all the times in Final Fantasy? Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about now. I think it has to be borderline AFK for threat steal. Yeah, I've tested that myself. This is getting rough. It's getting real rough. So what I'm saying is like, I don't think that an MMO needs threat in order for tanking to be skillful. I also think that New World tanking is incredibly badly designed. I think it's just like it was. I think the game was not really ever meant on like a nuts and bolts level. It was never meant to have tanks in it. This is just something that was added in later on as an afterthought. I designed New World tanking. Well, you're about to get banned in chat for that because you fucked up. You fucked up. My opinions, New World bosses are very poor telegraphs. Yeah, I mean, oh, in Final Fantasy, I have no idea if that's what you're talking about. I haven't done any of them. There it is. So, there's animation cancel on this. Well, there should be like there should be like animation clipping, especially with tanks, because the problem is like a lot of the things that you have to react to are, let's say like, because obviously as a tank, right? Like, what do you do as a tank? You can do 3 different things. You can dodge, you can block, and you can attack. That's pretty much it. So, if you're gonna dodge or block, you have to be able to respond to that. Like usually the boss's attacks, especially with some bosses, are about as fast as the attack of the player. So that means that you can have a situation where the second that you attack, the boss does something, and then you can't react to it because your animation locked into an attack. Not the best kind of design, in my opinion. Got him. Isn't that a general problem with the game? It works fine on surface level, but the moment that you get a little bit deeper, it falls apart. I think that's the best way you can say it, yeah. I think that the game works really well if you're like super casual about it. But if you try to actually like get really serious about the game, you start to see a lot of the cracks and flaws and issues with it. Increased threat by a shit ton. Yeah, I think that they should just like make it to where if you have the stamina, like this is my opinion, right? Make it to where if you have the gems in your gear, that you just basically, if you hit the mob twice, you pretty much have aggro. Like there's like never gonna be a chance that somebody else is gonna get aggro. Basically like the way it works in WoW or Final Fantasy. You piece of fucking shit. You actually do a tank swap to get a mob off you. Well, you don't really ever need to do a tank swap because there's no content that requires 2 tanks. It's like not even a thing. And depths. If you need to do a tank swap for depths, you need to get out of depths and keep leveling. Yeah, that's an L2P situation. My threat mechanic myself, but it has to be dependable, accurate way to measure it. Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? Is like I just feel like the threat mechanic is just it's like, for example, like remember that attempt on the boss, the Isabella boss, and I did the fight, and the dog came out and I hit the dog, and then the dog just ran to the healer and I couldn't get aggro off of the healer. Like that's just stupid in my opinion. Like I don't want to have to deal with that. It's just stupid. That reminds me of like classic WoW or Burning Crusade. I'm taking him at 250% gem. There's 0 issue with aggro now. Give me a second. I think that you probably should play with better DPS then. Sometimes even high-end bosses tend to stop attacking and aimlessly path around people as well. Yeah, it's like really kind of, it's really weird. Like the problem that I have with that is the fact that like you have like a number of like competing ideas. You have like the idea of positional attacks, you have the idea of, well, like not just positional attacks, you have positional attacks from the boss and from the players. So the players are trying to hit positionals, the boss is doing positional attacks, and now you have to worry about the boss moving, and you have no control over the way the boss is moving at all, and the boss just decides to move, and while it's moving it does a positional attack that's not well telegraphed, and it kills people in your group. Like, that, in my opinion, is that's just, it's like, that makes the game harder, but so is playing it with a blindfold on. Or, like, I would assume that, like, playing a video game with a crying baby in the room will, in general, make the video game harder for the person playing the game. But I don't think that having that happen is good for the game. Does that make sense? Like, just because something makes it harder doesn't mean that it makes it better. Oh, that guy must have just killed it. They should implement a way to increase Azoth cap later in the game. No, they should implement a way to increase Azoth cap tomorrow. Just make it 10,000. There's no reason for there to be a cap. Like, is there any positive to there being a cap? Because, like, whenever I'm thinking about it, like, I don't see any upside to that. There's a reason important ones to sell you one in the store. Exactly. I hope that if they try to do that, everybody quits the game. They just completely quit the game immediately and that's it. Is the endgame really just what you're doing right now? No. Once I do this for about 2 more hours, then there's something else I'm going to do this to instead. What do I think about the quests in this game? I mean, there's at least a dozen of them. Actually, no, there's about 7. I think that I think what I don't like about the questing, the ones that I don't like are the ones where you have to collect a lot of boxes. Those are the most annoying ones to me. Like, yeah, it's like you have to collect 6 boxes. And it's like, so you have to go in like every single house. It's like, oh man, like what is this? It gets annoying quickly. Yeah, because like I just don't like having to like not know where something is and try to find it. Especially whenever like, I think in like vanilla WoW or something, it was like a little bit better because you would, you'd have to read the quest and then the quest would tell you where to go. But New World doesn't have any of that, so it's just like go here and do this thing. And there's no like learning or anything, you just have to figure it out. Actually, as you get a box of general. Little quest RNG is also just dreadful. Yeah. Finding minerals in this game is so bad. Collecting boxes is necessary. I think that refining materials is... I think it's going to be an issue later on. Because... and maybe this wasn't true in the internal alpha that they did, or the NDA alpha that they did. But what I can say is that what I think is going to happen is... the game needs to have a bottom in order for it to be... like, in order for the economy to work, because of the way that the resources work. So, like, one issue the game has is that if you want to craft, let's say, a star metal bar, you have to go back and collect iron for that, which is, in a way, it's a good thing, right? But it's also a bad thing, because that means that the way that it works is like, it's kind of like a, it's like a pyramid. And what that pyramid means is that the high level resources are going to have, in a way, the least value. Because the high level resources are, they're actually quite common. It's like weirdwood is a good example of this. Weirdwood is worth less than basically any other wood because you can just farm it so easily. And it's a very simple, simple math equation, right? It's like supply and demand. Better if the bosses had actual mechanics and not a preset moveset from the start? Well, yeah, of course. He's getting that one. Just go back and get the other one. You always need iron, you always need linen. Yeah, exactly. And like, you could say that's a good thing, but I think that people think that until they realize they have to constantly farm out like 900 iron every single time that they want to do something. And also, like, it will make high level resources worth less that it'll make high level resources worth less than low level resources, which in my opinion is just stupid. Just buy it. Well, yeah, but it's going to be expensive because you're going to have more people that are buying it than people that are selling it, and so you're going to have more, the higher price. Then certain people will farm it more. GGZ. I think the way that you solve that, it's so hard to solve that problem too, because I know why they do it. So they do it because they want to give low-level players something that they can sell and like have to contribute to the economy. But I don't really know if that's like a goal that's worth making the economy dysfunctional for. Other extreme is all materials except in-game are useless. Well, I think that, like, you're right, and like, this is, it's probably a matter of degree. I think that's really what it comes down to. Haven't old while. Copper was worth something as people needed it to level up engineering, etc. Yeah. Sandpaper is the most annoying, low tier resource to get. Yeah, and like having these like refining resources like sandpaper and tannin and stuff like that. I think those are gonna become more and more annoying, because in the process of trying to do that, you're gonna have a lot of fuck. Like right now you have everybody out in the world like clicking on boxes and everything because they have to do quests for them for their town board. But most people, most of the time after people are leveling, they're not going to be clicking on as many boxes. So you're going to have less of those in the economy. I'm not really sure. Maybe it'll work out. I do think that logging in this game could have been a lot better. One problem that I think it has is that logging in this game is... There's like this massive gulf between like each of the logging resources. Like, I think that the best... I think the best one to level in terms of like progression and like being able to do more and more things is probably like skinning or mining. Because like whenever you're mining, like you're getting new things very regularly, and you're able to skin higher level monsters very regularly with skinning too. Furniture's OP, no one knows it. You're right. I don't know anything about furniture stuff. Skinning experience is overinflated, probably. Yeah, I think so. That's why it's fun, though. I would actually disagree. I think that having more goals and like, I don't think that it's fun to just immediately hit 200. I think that the best experience is whenever it takes a long time, but in the process of doing it, you have a number of points that you reach that are like breakpoints that make you feel good about your progress. You see what I'm saying? That's what I kind of like a little bit more. If it's too easy, it's worth nothing. Yeah, exactly. It's like it feels really good with like lumber working to get to the point where you can cut down like a blue tree. Like that's super cool. And whenever I'm able to cut down like the red trees, that's gonna be awesome. Like I'm super excited for that. But the problem is like you just have to spend so long farming in between those points. Mining feels really good because you're unlocking new mining types. Yeah, exactly. It's like I'll pull up the skill tree in a minute. Let me get the next one. Next level. I'll do one more. I'll do one more level. You know, I remember when I was like pulling. Oh, there we go. I'm actually amazed that one worked. you think they'll add more weapon types? Yeah, I think so. Feels a lot weird to grind in MMO compared to a one-player RPG. I don't really ever grind in single-player RPGs. I only really grind in MMOs. I don't know really why. It's like maybe I don't have anybody to show it off to. He's trying to do the same thing. Yeah. Grind in Valheim. That's true. I did grind in Valheim. That's a good point. The reason I'm maxing logging? The reason why I'm maxing out logging is because whenever I do it, it's done. That's it. I'm never going to have to do it again. In 2 years, whenever this game might be good, my character will have 200 logging. And whenever they introduce purple trees, and the purple trees require logging 250, I'm already going to be at 200, ready to go. Imagine purple trees. A Valheim MMO? I mean, yeah, I think so. Like, I think New World should be a Valheim MMO. Like, everything that New World doesn't have that Valheim does have, I think New World should have. Base making? Yeah. Like, if you could have, like, areas in the map that were, like, kind of outpost areas where people could build their entire own bases, like, it's kind of hard to do that because I don't know how that would work. Yeah, they could figure it out. It would be like Rust then? Yeah, I think Rust is a great game. Yeah, it's swimming and sailing. Yeah, like, I think, like, so here's the priorities I think that they should have. Priority 1 should be... What should be priority 1? I think the first thing they need to do is get rid of body blocking and expeditions. Just delete it entirely. Get rid of it. Take it out of the game. It adds nothing into the game. It's just frustrating and annoying. And that's it. How about mounts? No. They need to make the Azoth cap 10,000 instead of 1,000. Or at least allow you to somehow go above that cap. Let me get away from there. Or just no Azoth. I think that Azoth has a value in crafting, and to a certain degree, there is a value in like having to move around the world and traverse the world. And also, like, but let's go ahead. We'll just I'll like say other things too. Like that's I don't really know like what the solution is. I probably just like nerf it by 50%, and that's a good start. You know, crafting per point. Yeah, I that's what I said the other day. The reason somebody else brought that up to me, and I said the same thing to them. It was like, yeah, crafting it does kind of make sense. Let me think. What else should they do like immediately? Oh, make quests. If you have to turn in a quest, then that quest just gives you another quest. Make it to where that quest immediately completes and begins the next part of it after you do it. So, like, no more going, you have to go to here, and then you go down to here, and then you go back up to here, and then you go down to here. You should go from here to here to here, back to town, and you're done. That's it. Did that to extend the game. I think they do. I think that you achieve the opposite effect whenever you try to do that, because people stop wanting to play it. My character looks cool. Yeah, I know, it looks fucking awesome. Make you want to hide the fact the game's lacking content. I mean, I think that it's probably just, again, it's like the, I think this is going to be a struggle with MMO, with New World in general, is that New World is going to have this problem of the old MMO player versus the new MMO player. And I think that one of the problems is that old MMO players have there's like a value in their mind to like wasting time. Yeah, but boomer content basically, yeah. They want to waste time? Yeah. They think that somehow like wasting time is some sort of like a trial or something like that. This is some sort of a test. It's like, are you willing to allow this video game to waste your time? Struggles or challenges in their lives. I think a lot of them probably, the truth is, like, my experience with a lot of people like that is that the reason that why they want it takes a long time to be the challenge in a game is because they suck at video games. And if like they can put in a lot of time and play the game, but if you actually ask them to fucking do something that's difficult, they're gonna have a bad time. Makes me feel like the game is more content if it's time gated. Yeah. Are the healers in this game? Yeah. Am I really using a jump cancel? Yep. I'm really doing that. So each of these are 177. It doesn't even move my bar, man. Yeah, I hardly even see it move it at all. WoW will ever recover from the levers? No, I don't really think so. I think that the people who are working on the game, like WoW has unfortunately, what's happened with WoW is that it's kind of it's like created a very, very, I think, like radical audience of people who are just okay with anything the game does. It's kind of like the same problem that Final Fantasy has, where like you have an audience of people that like are just overly defensive about the game on like an irrational level. And I think WoW is like beginning to have that because people think that they're protecting the developers by defending the game, which is, in my opinion, just completely retarded. I think that a lot of the people that that are like that, they defend the changes like Blizzard is making and things like that. These are people who, as I said, these are people who want to. They want to see these things added into the game. They think this is important. It's important to them that, you know, a certain character like acts a certain way or doesn't say a certain thing, or, you know, players can or can't do something. As I said, like this has like always been like my take about like the whole like emotes getting removed. The only reason why Blizzard's removing those emotes is because players use those emotes to harass each other. And if Blizzard removes the emotes, that's like one less tool that Blizzard has to deal with. It makes it harder for players to harass each other, which means that Blizzard saves more money. I don't really think Blizzard cares at all about any of the other stuff. I think that's like literally what the reasoning behind the emotes is. Like obviously there's like multiple reasons, but I think that is one reason. It's like Master Loot? Yeah, it's exactly like Master Loot. No shot. It used to be they listen on forums and players not pandering to developers because they said it's fine. I just I just think the community, I just think it's so pathetic, man, to be honest with you. It's just so absolutely pathetic. Can't spit on people for this torment. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like these are the things that that Blizzard developers care about. Like in my opinion, I think that whenever I see any sort of like IP get taken over by people who are trying to put their own agenda into that IP, I immediately like just assume that it's going to be garbage. And I'm right pretty much every single time. Great, I can't wait to see what I'm gonna get. Property tax. I'm glad Japanese games are largely immune from that bullshit. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is like it's the that's why a lot of people like the Japanese like anime and stuff like that, is they don't have that level of like pandering and agenda Andy shit in it. I think a lot of people really don't like that. It's not filtered through some sort of politically correct lens to not offend the 2,000 most mentally ill people on Twitter. It's just funny for the sake of being funny, and it's sometimes offensive, and that's okay. They don't hate their audience. Yeah, well, they don't have resentment for their audience. I think that's what it is. We're overly political about WoW. No, the takes are nonsense. No, you don't understand what the problem is. It's not that it's not that it's political, it's about the way that it's political. You understand? Like, it's like, the reason why Final Fantasy does it and it works well is that they present compelling characters on both sides. What I think that a lot of the WoW stuff has done is they create characters that are one-dimensional, that are just used to promote a certain message. Or it's writing talent, not political agenda. Exactly, right? But like, there's no real it really depends, right? Because like the writing talent and political agenda, I think, kind of go hand in hand. You know, try to talk about things outside the game. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good way to say it. Yeah, they're not using the game as a metaphor for something that they feel in real life. Right, or some sort of like real life situation. They're trying to tell a story that's interesting and compelling. And of course, like with any sort of like personal conflict, that's clearly what's going to happen. Like, I think that there are a lot of really great stories that are, like, I think probably the, I think, like, what's the, like, a good example of this is, like, The Watchmen, right? Like, the movie. Like, that's a, I mean, it's clearly, like, very political. It was based off of, like, Cold War, you know, Cold War stuff. But, I think that, like, what they did is such a good job with that is that they present a villain, or they present the other side of an issue respectfully and competently, rather than having it be like a caricature. Or it's like there's only one good side and that's it. Mushroom's message is just war is bad. Most people agree on that. Yeah, of course. And I think that's like kind of the, I think that there are messages like that, and it's also like people trying to inject a, I think a political message that's kind of like unpopular, and I think that's another issue, which is like the message that like, flirting with like people, or like trying to, you know, like any idea or any mention or usage of sexual innuendo is immediately bad. This is just like, as I said, this is what somebody who spends, like, the way that they interact with other people, especially of the opposite sex, like is online and through like reading other people stuff. It's not like a real genuine interaction. Sylvanas isn't one-dimensional though. Which is, the thing is with Sylvanas is Sylvanas used to be a complex character that was interesting. And now she's not anymore. I think also like the usage of plot devices, like splitting somebody's soul and stuff like that, where there's like a good and a bad version of people, and like alternate timelines and all that other kind of crazy stuff. I feel like all of those are just really bad plot devices for not being able to create cohesion in a story. So easy to write. Yeah, it's like these are just, it's just like bad writing in general. I think that with really good writing, you should be able to predict what's going to happen at the end of it. It's kind of like a really, really good joke. Like a comedian, like a really, like, you know, like Dave Chappelle, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, like any of the real fucking, some of the best comedians of all time. Right, those are just three I can come up with right off the top of my head. But Mitch Hedberg, they can tell you a joke, and you know what the punchline is going to be, and that makes it even funnier to you. And that, I think, is what good writing in a way should be. Like, you want, like in Final Fantasy, for example, like, you know that. You know, in Heaven's Ward, the good guys are probably going to win. That's usually just what happens. But you still want to see that happen. It's the same as like in Harry Potter. Like, you knew that Voldemort's probably not going to come out ahead at the end of the story, but you still want to see it happen. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is a great example. Like, Lord of the Rings is the best example, right? Yeah, Norm Macdonald is another one, right? It's like, you know what he's gonna say, and you want him to say it. Exactly. I think in WoW the good guys will win. They usually do in a way, but it's not like in a fulfilling way. So like, for example, like when was the last boss that was like, it felt good to beat that boss? Like from a lore perspective, besides the Lich King. Maybe Gul'dan. Like, I don't know, I'd have to think. Like, Kill Jaden, maybe? Yeah, I think maybe Kill Jaden. Kill Jaden even more than Gul'dan. Blackhand? Yeah, Blackhand would be another one, right? And you want to beat the boss because of the story, right? Zevo only loves it. No, it's not because of that. Like, Gul'dan is a good character in a way, but Gul'dan's like the Joker. It's like an agent of chaos and power. Sorry, Blackhand, so much screaming happiness, highlight a WoW for me. Yeah, Blackhand was an incredible boss fight. I think Blackhand, like, one of the reasons why Blackhand was such a big deal is like, it was a in-game boss fight. It was ridiculously fucking hard, and it was half the length of any other in-game boss fight that we had had in like 10 years. It was like, here's something completely different, and it's the same thing. Like, you think about like the Warlords of Draenor, like the raids, right? I mean, we had some insanely good bosses. Like, I thought Archimon Mythic personally was a shitty boss. Yeah, I didn't like Archimon on Mythic. I thought it was just a bad fight. I didn't like the way that it worked and everything. And the weak auras and everything like that. But like Zul'Rock was really good. Who is that boss? Not Ruckmar, the one, Shadow Lord Iskar. That was really cool boss, and Manaroth was fucking awesome. I love Manaroth. I thought Cromrog was really good, but like really, like, I think like that first tier of WoD rating was one of the best tiers of like all time, probably. Because like you had, like what was so crazy about it is you had like High Imperator Margok, which was... Gorfiend was good design, staying hard. Yeah, we actually got a top 100 kill for Gorfiend, and then everything went downhill after that. That was like our best kill. Golden was okay. Oh no, Gul'dan was fucking like insane. Like it was one of the best boss fights Blizzard's ever made. I'd say it's definitely in their top 10. But like what was so crazy about it is like you had a fight like Blackhand, which was like a 7-minute fucking ass clincher. And then you had a fight like High Imperator Margok, which was a 17-minute ass clincher. And both fights were really hard. I thought that was awesome. Denathrius? Well, Denathrius, I actually would say Denathrius is a villain. I think Denathrius was a great villain in WoW. Like, he was such a great villain, and I'm so glad that he's not... I'm so unhappy he's not in the story anymore. Like, he's just, like... He has every like, kind of everything that, like, makes a good villain. You know, he's competent in a way. He's smart. He's full of himself. He's arrogant. It's great. He might be back. Yeah, I know. They left it open so they could bring him back, probably. Because so many people like them. But yeah, it's like I wanted to kill Denathrius. Well, I didn't actually want to kill him. I wanted to continuously be in the story because I thought he was really interesting. Yeah, I think Denathrius is much more interesting than, like, the Jailer. And that's Blizzard's fault, by the way. I think the Jailer could have been a great... the Jailer could have been Blizzard's first, like, actual morally gray character. Well, not their first, but, like, one of their really good, like, morally gray characters. And, they just completely dropped the ball, man. Like, as I said, I think that the Jailer is like Thanos in Infinity War, except he doesn't have any voice lines. Like, imagine how bad Infinity War would have been if the Jailer or Thanos, like, had really no voice lines. Yeah, you don't know anything about him. Like, there's no, like, real reason, like, why. Like, it's all just conjecture. Jailer's just kind of there, yeah. It's the same thing like for Sylvanas. Like in my opinion, I think that the it's the same thing with BFA too. Is like the story in BFA I think was just complete fucking garbage. At the end, the way that we just killed N'Zoth and all the other old gods died, it was just like... I mean, you probably could have had an 8th grader write a better story than that. Like, I can't believe that, like, those people that... hopefully those people aren't working at the company anymore. There were some of the people that got removed for, like, all those scandals, but... they're just completely trash. Like, what they could have done with BFA is... They should have made it to where the, what do you call it? They should have made it to where N'Zoth won and actually killed everybody. And the funny thing about that is they could have done that without really affecting the story a whole lot. They could have easily done that. And like all players, like, you know, they try to control it, all players trying to do it, N'Zoth is dead, yeah. N'Zoth died. Like, I think that it would be, and they can still do this, keep in mind. Like, how they could salvage the story, what I think would be like the best way to salvage the story right now. This is what I would want to see happen in the story. After this, I want to go to Whataburger. Is I think that at the end of the next raid, which will clearly be the raid with the jailer in it, at the end of the fight, after we beat him, he should tell us that we actually are all actually really dead. Like that we're actually like you're basically you're living in a simulation. N'Zoth actually destroyed Azeroth and you're actually dead. And I think that would make it would make a lot more sense. And needs something to shake it up. Yeah, exactly. Because that would make it to where like I think it would make it much more interesting. It was just a dream, you wake up 50 years later. Well, it's not a dream. It's more that N'Zoth actually won. Everybody died. That's why they're in the Shadowlands in the first place, right? It wasn't some teleporter or anything like that. It was that. And Sylvanas, like what I would do with Sylvanas, this is, in my opinion, what I think they should do with her, is they should make Sylvanas the new Lich King. I think that's the best ending to her story. It's fitting. Yeah, exactly. Because Sylvanas wanted to live forever. So she gets to live forever. But she's the Lich King. And she's like, basically, it's punishment for what she did. And that way you keep her in the story. And you can still have, you know, all the people that like Sylvanas happy and everything. But you still have the punishment that's there. Probably what's going to happen. I think that that's what they should do. Expect Sylvanas to become a new jailer. No, I think what they'll probably do is they'll have Sylvanas act like she didn't know what she was doing or something like that, and it was all like a fever dream or some bullshit. But yeah, I think that's what should happen, is like the jailer gets the sepulcher of the first ones, and he's able to use that to show us what happened in some sort of fucking like time altering thing, or like a reality altering thing. And I think that would make it a lot more interesting. No, it'd also give them a way to like redo a lot of Azeroth too. Vanilla zones are much more interesting than new zones. That's because they focused on like smaller stories that were more personal to people. They focus on things that are like the Company of Heroes quest in like Final Fantasy XIV, for example. Arthas gets reborn. No, I don't think Arthas should have any real part in the story. Like, there should be some sort of, like a reconciliation or some sort of, like, if they made, obviously, Sylvanas the Lich King, it would make sense for her to interact with Arthas, but, that's about it. And then they could just fight with each other all the time. I think that'd be funny even. I like the idea, yeah. Jesus Christ. Some shit like Arthas saving Anduin at the same time. Yeah. Because like I do think that like in the end the jailer should win. Because the jailer is he's just so like he's so much more astronomically more powerful than like anything else in the story. Like basically the only thing that like the other way they could do it is the jailer wins and we have to break out Sargeras. I could see that as like Legion 2 Electric Boogaloo, right? And we go back to the fucking Pantheon and we're like Sargeras, because like Sargeras is really the only entity that's like probably be able to kill the jailer. That'd be it. Didn't we just lock up Sargeras? Yeah, I'd be like, well, you know, it is what it is. Now, how are we gonna make Sargeras another sword? That's a good question. I don't know. He's faster and powerful, makes no sense for us to win. Yeah, exactly. Like, I thought the same thing about N'Zoth too, honestly. So Jera's Grand Sargeras. No, I think that I would assume that like in the war, Sargeras would be more powerful than the jailer. Like that would be at least like my my assessment. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, jailer does have the Infinity Gauntlet. That's true. I'm gonna say that jailer was Titan Plus. Yeah, but you have to also remember, like, it took all of the Titans' combined power to stop Sargeras. And they only imprisoned him? Yeah, true. How can Sargeras defeat the jailer if we defeated Sargeras? We didn't. We defeated Argus, which I think also didn't really make that much sense, but I guess it was with the power of the Titans, but I think that was also kind of silly. be surprised if some Stan Lee, the one character, pops up and saves the day. Deus Ex Machina. I highly doubt that. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that. Like, the most you'd probably get is some sort of like living tribunal thing, which it seems like the first ones are kind of that of that role. Alright. I gotta get my food. I've been staying up too late playing this game on my stream. Thanks a lot for watching today, guys. I appreciate it. And I will see you all later. Oh, man. Oh, what a day. Alright, boys. Peace.